Getting all the way Southern T. Back with another EP. Not bad for the tightness. Y'all do your boy a favor. As y'all roll on in. Y'all smash that like button for your boy. Don't know if it was the first time, but if you could, that may be the last time, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for your boy. I would greatly appreciate that. Let me make sure that I'm set up right. Okay, bam. Cool. Okay, so I'm here for a good time, not a long time, Devin Haney has a fight. This just been officially announced for October 15th, right? This week. But if you've been over on Southern T, then you kind of been hip to this for a minute. That this fight with at least the last 3 or 4 weeks, right? That this fight with George Kambosos has officially been worked out. Now, right after the first fight with George Kambosos, right? There was a window, a time that people wasn't sure. Devin Haney, and Team Haney wasn't sure if they will have to fight George Kambosos again the second time because, not a lot of people do know that the first time that the fight, was taking place. Well, a lot of people do know this part, right? The first time that the fight was taking place, it was done on, a Top Rank outlet. Top Rank paid for the fight. They put the money up for it and everything. This time, in the same contract, right, that we all know that Devin Haney, had to sign to go over the Top Rank. In that same contract, in the rematch clause was pinned upon George Kambosos. The rematch clause was something George Kambosos and his side wanted, right? So, in the rematch, George Kambosos and his side are responsible for funds in the building and all that good stuff, right? So it wasn't a sure thing that George Kambosos and his side would find a building or even be approved for the funds because of, the turnout from the first fight, right? But George Kambosos' side, ended up, getting the deal worked out. They ended up getting the stadium, the money, and all that good stuff. And, now we're here for the second fight. So Devin Haney and George Kambosos have a fight coming up October 15th. Freddie Roach, himself, the great Freddie Roach, just so y'all know. The great Freddie Roach himself, posted a photo on his Instagram, of Devin Haney in the gym with him. Also, Mark Masayo was, in the gym as well, indicating that, Devin Haney has been at the Wild Card gym, getting some work. I confirmed, with my sources that, this is true. Devin Haney, has been at the Wild Card gym, with Freddie Roach picking up, a few things before his fight with George Kambosos. Now this isn't a permanent thing, right? And it's not out of the ordinary for Devin Haney, to go to gyms, to go to different gyms, right? Go to different trainers and pick up things, to add to his arsenal. I think actually more boxers should do what Devin Haney and his team, have adopted throughout his career. And that's, taking advantage of different trainers, different styles, and adding it and implementing it into Devin Haney's game. You know what I mean? Yes, it's good to be, a repertoire with one trainer. Those are the times where a trainer and a fighter could be so locked in and in sync, right, that he may be able to bring the best out of that fighter. And he may not need, a lot of help, right? May not need a lot of help. But that's few far in between. And especially when you're in a situation like the one that Devin Haney was in, right? Where you got his father, being his main trainer for the majority of his life. But his father also understanding that there are still things that he could learn as a trainer. So don't have, such a big ego, right? That Bill Haney, you can't step aside and, get help on the things that you don't know. So I think more fighters should take that, into consideration of having, multiple trainers or, maybe using a couple trainers for this camp, or one trainer for this camp and a trainer for that camp. You know what I mean? But the question that I want to bring here, for a second, and I'm gonna get more into about Freddie Roach, Devin Haney, in the combination. But real quick, I want to bring up Ben Davidson, right? So Ben Davidson used to be one of the coaches, right? That was inside on the Devin Haney camp. He was in there teaching Devin Haney, a few things. Ben Davidson even worked Devin Haney corner, for a few fights, right? So this is the second fighter, right? This is the second major fighter that Ben Davidson, just all of a sudden stopped training. Like, why would a high-class elite trainer, right, all of a sudden just drop two of his biggest clients, just cease work with him? Like, why would Ben Davidson allow Devin Haney and Tyson Fury to get away from him? Like, why would you just let those two guys, go away? Like, anybody notice Ben Davidson no longer works with Josh Taylor either? Did you notice that? Ben Davidson has kind of been separating from all his fighters as of late. You know what I mean? And Devin Haney isn't a Ben Davidson fighter, but Ben Davidson has been, around the Devin Haney camp, in a few fights, right? They've had a working relationship, with Ben Davidson, right? But all of a sudden, you got Ben Davidson just cutting ties with all his big fighters, right? Like, why would a trainer just drop all his biggest clients? I think that's a little weird. I think that's a question to be asked. That's something that a lot of people not paying attention to either. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? And again, Devin Haney is not a Ben Davidson fighter. Tyson Fury, Josh Taylor, those are guys who are Ben Davidson fighter. Ben Davidson just came into Devin Haney's camp. But Ben Davis has almost retired. You know what I mean? He's not coaching anybody anymore. I wonder why. You know what I mean? Josh Taylor still ain't signed to fight nobody either. And Tyson Fury saying that they don't pay him an absurd amount of money, he not coming out of retirement. I just want people to pay attention to, certain guys moving a certain way. And it's for a certain reason. But Devin Haney is in camp with Freddie Roach. So let me tell you my thoughts on that. And I want to make sure I say this the right. My bad, y'all. I'm feeding my face right now. I'm on lunch. I want to make sure I say this the right way. Right. First, let me read the comments real quick. I saw comments in the earlier that I want to. Tito Dunn said, "This is actually good for Haney. Roach has a method for helping fighters establish a more offensive style. If this is true, we might see Haney get a stoppage win for once." Tito Dunn, Haney got a few stoppage wins, right? Don't do my boy Haney like that. Right? But I'm going to agree with my brother Tito here, right? Because I know at first thought, right, we think, right, Devin Haney don't need to be, getting help from Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach ain't won the big fight in this long and that long. All Freddie Roach do is get guys knocked out. What's good, Bruce Gas? Appreciate you sliding through. I know what we're thinking, right? All Freddie Roach do is get dudes knocked out. He ain't won the big fight in this long and that long, right? But on the surface, right, I know it looked rough. Can y'all do your boy a favor? Can y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in? Ready here for a good time or a long time? On the surface, I know it kind of looked rough, right? But I think if you really look deep down, right, you really look deep at it, I think Freddie Roach for Devin could be. I know what y'all finna say. I know what y'all finna say, Chris. Just give me a second to explain for a second. Give me a second to explain for a second, right? Because I know what we all finna say, right? But I want y'all to hear me out for a second, right? Right. I know we're gonna say right. And I agree with everybody. I know we're gonna say I agree. I agree. I know exactly what we're gonna say, and I agree, right? Our Freddie Roach ain't won the big one. All Freddie Roach do is get guys knocked out, right? But Freddie Roach, you know, he is an offensive fighter, right? He is an offensive fighter. So there's one, right? Freddie Roach, you know, his fighters, know how to sit on their punches, right? His fighters know how to, put full pressure on, and his fighters know how to turn their punches over, right? Freddie Roach does, teach guys, how to get a little power behind their punches, right? So I think maybe, right, having the offensive aggressive coach like Freddie Roach for Devin Haney, right? I think maybe that may play in his favor. And I'm taking my time with this one because I want to make sure I say the right thing now. Freddie Roach ain't really the guy. You know what I mean? Who gonna teach you how to put on a boxing clinic or nothing like that, right? But he is a guy who most definitely could bring the best out of a guy as far as, that mental toughness and sitting down on his punches, right? So in that sense, I don't think Freddie Roach is all that bad for Devin. And we know Devin not, turning over the Rams to Freddie Roach completely, right? But I think right now, he's trying to win to see how it go. What's good, Josh? Appreciate you sliding through this, When this thing talking about, Devin Haney and Freddie Roach, the combination. Team Haney over at the Wild Card Gym. You know what I mean? Getting in some work with Freddie Roach. And also, y'all, I'll say this, right? The Wild Card Gym is a historic boxing gym, right? It's one of the older, more original, boxing gyms in the game, right? So Devin should, at least, do his, due diligence to go over there. Why Freddie Roach still here, at least, right? Now, he made it forget more boxing than he know, right? But because already at this point, right, Devin Haney done worked with so many, big trainers, so many former pros and boxers and coaches and shit. Why not add Freddie Roach and Wild Card Gym to the resume? You know what I mean? And my thing is this. This ain't gonna be a pair, right? Now, he may not even get to David Haney's corner, right? David Haney may just let his father coach him in this fight, right? Coach his corner in this fight or whatnot. He may not even get to his corner, right? Freddie Roach. But let's say Freddie Roach get to his corner, right? This is gonna be a fight where we ain't gonna need a couple fights to figure out whether it's gonna work. You know what I mean? I think this match is gonna be apparent whether it's going to be a fit or not. Now, they may click in the gym, right? I think they may click on the pass. I think they may click in the workout room and all that good shit, right? But when you actually get in that fight, you get in that ring, and a fight actually happen, you need a guy that you go click with there too. I think that's going to be the biggest question with Freddie Roach and Devin, right? How they go click from, a verbal or mental adjustment standpoint inside of the ring. I got 9 people in the building. I got 7 likes. Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button. Y'all just said he don't need right now. I ain't say he need him, Chris. I ain't say he need him at all. But, Devin, this ain't outside of Devin's nature, right? To go to different gyms. You know what I mean? And Wild Card a historic boxing gym, right? So it ain't outside of Devin's nature to go pick up on, different stuff. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't think it's I mean, and I know how all us feel about it. Well, most of us anyway. I know how we feel about it. Freddie Roach ain't won nothing in a long time, right? Freddie Roach be getting guys beat up and shit, right? I get it, man. But he is an offensive coach, man. He is an offensive guru. Now, maybe he forgot more boxing than he remember right now. But with Devin already pretty much, right, having his hand in, right? I mean, working out pretty much from a youth up to now, right? He done pretty much worked out in every major gym in this good state of America, right? With all the major coaches, right? All the historic gyms. At some point, Devin Haney made his way through them. So maybe he just, maybe Crush, he just, tipped on through the Wild Card gym, But I guess we gotta wait to see, right? Or we gotta wait until Devin Haney, or Team Haney confirm, right, that he gonna be working a corner for the next fight, right? Because you could train with a guy. Maybe he was getting some sparring with Mark Maxayo or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they was putting in work or something like that. But you could train with a guy, and he may not necessarily work your corner, right? So maybe we should wait until they confirm that he working the corner. You know what I mean? Because I think in the instance where, like, if Devin just working with him in the gym and Roach not going to be in his corner on fight night, I like that idea. I'm just not sure how Devin and Roach are jail corner to corner. You know what I mean? This very well could be just, Devin Haney making his stops and shit, though, Devin Haney didn't train with Floyd Sr. He didn't train with Zab Judah father. He didn't train at the Crunch Gym. He didn't train there. And now he at right? And now he at the Wild Card Gym, you know what I mean? I think Devin just, I think he making his rounds, learning what he can, from the people, from the legends in boxing, while he could learn. You know what I mean? But then again, right? But then again, right? You had what? Peter Quillen. Peter Quillen came out of that gym, right? Kid Chocolate. So outside of Manny Pacquiao, right? He ain't necessarily had, a plethora of great fighters. You know what I mean? Wild card, not a plethora of great fighters. Peter Quillen, Manny Pacquiao, and I'm sure there's a couple more. Oh yeah, Paulie Malignaggi, right? I think Paulie or Freddie Roach guy. King Dom said, I believe Devin go knock Cambosis out in round 7 or 8. Yeah, I think he can. I think that's why Devin went to Freddie, right? To try to, get, to learn to be, a little more offensive. You know what I mean? A little more offensive style coach. I think that's why he went over there. Now, I don't know if Freddie go be inside of his corner, right? But I could see, why he, will go and want to pick up, some things from over there. I get that, right? You could never not learn nothing from Freddie, right? Or the wild card gym. That's a historic boxing gym, right? He said, Roach Haney making stupid move. Roach is not needed. I have never heard Roach give a good command. Yeah, that's my thing, Tyrone, right? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure if he gonna be in the corner or not, right? Or if Devin just in the gym, learning things in the gym. But yeah, we're in the same boat. But I think the biggest question will be in the corner. I think Freddie Roach can get him right in the gym, leading up to the fight and all that. My biggest question mark for Freddie will be his corner work, his adjustments in between the ring, the way he communicate now, at this age. On top of outside, him having, Manny Pacquiao, Peter Quillen, Paulie, you know what I mean? He hasn't had overly, a lot of great fights. Have had, multiple champions, right? So I give him that, but I think right now his corner game is suffering tremendously. Even if he's still good at the gym, right? In the corners, where I think the biggest, question mark is, man. What's good, Debby? Appreciate you signing through this, John Debby. AB the IT, what's good, pimp? Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy. When we're having a boxing conversation, Freddie Roach posted a picture of Devin Haney, working out with him and Mark McSay at the Wild Card Gym. When here, shooting the shit about it. Giving our thoughts, telling what we think about it. I know most of us, and y'all are right. Like, I ain't saying y'all saying nothing wrong. Like, Freddie Roach ain't done too much of nothing lately, right? He ain't, even historically, just, the greatest, of all time or no shit like that. Historically, he get fighters beat up. You know what I mean? He only, had to train one way, right? That's like he trained Kung Fu fighters. He make them fight. He's just seeing you on. Glad I subscribed. Appreciate you, Devin. Appreciate you, Devin. Yeah, man. We talk this good boxing all the time, man. We just, in here dropping this, informational tea on y'all. Right? But I think with all that we saying, right? With all that we saying, right? I think a heavy offensive guy right now is good for Devin Haney. You know what I mean? And Tyrone. And that's what I give Bill Haney credit for, though, because he always understood that it's gonna need to be more than just him. which is why Bill Haney always, Bill Haney Bill Haney have Devin with these different trainers. To Devin's advantage, right? Devin Haney has been working with some of the best and the elite trainers his whole life, even as a kid. That's what I'm saying. Like this move right here is kind of not. That's why That's why I can't really tell you if he gonna be working the corner or not, right? Because Devin been doing this since he was a kid. Going around to the best gyms. Getting different training and things like that. So I don't know if this is a drop in or a permanent thing right now. You know what I mean? Kingdom said, I believe Devin go give up the belts after he win this fight. He's a grown boy and standing around 135, gonna deplete him. I don't see him fighting Loma. Tell you the truth, man, after Devin fight Cambodia, man, he can do whatever he want to do. I mean, as far as, like me, he can do whatever he want to do. He got the undisputed, he defended it. After that, hell, do what you want to do. My thing is, right, unless the WBA and Tank Davis force his WBA mandatory, he got one more fight with Bob Arum, and Bob Arum gonna put Lomachenko in that ring. You know what I mean? He gonna put him in that ring. That's what I'm thinking, Kingdom. Devin next fight, it could be Tank Davis. It's a chance it could be Tank Davis, right? Only if the WBA him push that thing. But more than likely, Bob want to get him in there with Loma. So outside of a mandatory getting in the way, right? He'll be fighting Lomachenko because, some people don't realize Lomachenko wouldn't be a mandatory. It wouldn't be a title defense or nothing like that. It'd be a voluntary. So if a mandatory come up, he'll have to fight that mandatory, not Lomachenko. Yeah. Yeah, but if it's a mandatory, then that fight wouldn't impeach on Bob Arum's contract because it would be something he would have to do if it was a mandatory, right? So if he get a mandatory, let's say the WBA or the WBC or somebody called a mandatory, right? And he had to fight his mandatory, that won't count as Bob Arum fight. That'll be a mandatory fight. So he'll still owe Bob Arum a fight. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think right. I think Devin very well could have knocked out George Kambosos the first fight, right? And now I'm not saying that Devin needed, you know what I mean, the wild card Jim and Freddie Roach. I wouldn't use that word at all. But I think more so what we should be asking ourselves is, can he help Devin? And I think the answer to that question is, yeah, he could help Devin, right? Now, we might not think much of Freddie Roach later, but he could provide help to Devin, right? Again, offensive style fighter, aggressive style fighter. I think that'll do Devin some right in this fight with George Kambosos. Because he clearly showed you, he clearly, showed you that he can be outboxed. And I think that Devin, left a lot on the table. You know what I mean? A lot of punches and combination Devin could have threw. He didn't. I think he did that. Because he knew what was at stake. And he didn't want to, make any mistakes. So he just did, what he had to do. He took him to school. And I don't want to use the term played it safe because that's the wrong term. But, he just took him to school. He stayed on the square and he did what he had to do. But, maybe an offensive-minded coach, could, bring that, that next level out of him, and we can see a stoppage in this next fight with George Kambosos. I think with Freddie Roach, we just kind of got to wait and see. And again, I ain't sure if Freddie Roach is going to work his corner or not. Because, Devin works with a lot of different trainers, and they all don't always end up working his corner right. I'm not sure if Roach is working his corner, but they are in the gym together right now. You know what I mean? And my biggest question mark with this, would be the how Devin Haney and Freddie Roach would gel in the corner. I don't think them working together in the gym or them gelling or meshing together inside of the gym, I don't think there'll be a problem. It's more so during the fight, in between the fight, when they're making adjustments. And if Freddie Roach is there to just train them, right? And then they'll have another guy, come in with him. But I understand that. But Bill always been a guy, who was never against, bringing in guys, more established guys in the sport of boxing to help Devin. I think that's a lot of why Devin Haney thrives. Let me see. He said, Loma. He said, let's say Devin fights Loma and wins. What would be the next step for Davis? Your opinion? It'd be the fight. It'd be to fight Devin. To answer your question, it'll be to fight Devin. I feel like within the next two fights, right? I feel like we got two fights left before we'll never get Haney and Devin, right? If Devin and Tank, my bad, if Devin and Tank don't fight within the next two fights, we'll never get their fight. Because Devin gonna be going up to 140. And Tank, I already told you, he not going up to 140 no more. He 135 pounds. We got two fights out. Kambosos, Lomachenko. If Devin and Tank don't fight after this Kambosos fight and Devin fight Lomachenko, this how we'll know if Tank and Devin go fight. They either go fight in Devin next fight or after Devin next fight. And if they don't fight then, they're not going to fight because Devin will be going up to 140. Either Tank or Loma can't beat Devin. Devin got the higher reach of skills. So either way, there you go. I'm game. What's good, Derek? Appreciate you decided to do this, young Derek. Glad you can make it, pimp. So I also rather see Dev move up after this fight, but I don't mind the Loma fight either. But Dev go watch Loma and everybody go make more excuses. Think so? Yeah. I said we got next two fights gonna be big for them. Right, this Kambosos fight, and then the next fight after that, gonna be big for Devin. Tyrone said Devin is staying at 135 as long as he can. True Dogs at 140. Yeah. He got until we basically got until the end of this top ring deal for Devin Tyrone. Is it Tank ain't fighting no dog? That man is going on the UK tour soon. So fucking sad. Damn. My guy Tyrone on one. He came in firing on Haney. He came in firing on Tank. Tyrone on the gas today, man. How you feel about Freddie Roach? How you feel about Devin Haney training? How you feel about Freddie Roach training Devin Haney, Tyrone? How you feel about it? My bad, y'all. My bad. My bad. We said David the Beast. I honestly see that move up, but my bad. I read that already. The Tank ain't fighting no dog Jack. My bad. Yeah, Chicago's finest said Devin the Beast, but Tank will beat him pretty easily. Forget Davis. Can really box. People forget Davis can really box real shit. Mm-hmm. Everybody at 140 moved up to get away from Devin. Devin, oh, okay. Devin the Grand Reaper. Either Roach is trash. One guy I say average. He could bring nothing to Haney camp. To me, this is a promo job. Makes no sense. Yeah. Yeah. So if Devin come out, let's speak under the, let's say like Devin come out his next fight, right? And Roach is in his corner, right? If Devin come out the next fight, Roach is in his corner and Devin Haney gets a knockout, do we accredit that? Do we accredit that to Freddie Roach? And maybe Freddie Roach, unlocking another wrinkle in Devin's game? Or did we accredit that to it just being, time for Devin Haney to get a knockout, right? How would you view it? Right. How would you, if Devin come out and get a knockout in his next fight, do we give Roach some credit for that? He said no, he's supposed to knock out Bozo. So even though he didn't knock out Kambosos the first time, he knocked him out this time. Freddie Roach don't get no credit for that. Don't get none for that. I mean, this wouldn't have been. Well, I wouldn't even say it wouldn't have been my first option. I say that this shit came out of left field, like. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. No, he didn't even press the gas. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I agree with you. He most definitely could have stopped him, right? He most definitely could have stopped him. I agree with you. And I think maybe they felt like they needed, to learn something. Maybe my bad, because I'm eating at the same time I'm doing it, right? Maybe Freddie Roach, this is what I'm thinking, right? Freddie Roach can unlock something offensively, right? That Devin may not know how to display, properly, or know how to consistently display, right? He may not know how to consistently get off, certain shit. And Freddie been around the game long enough, I think, to where, he could provide him with, something. He could bring something to the table with him. Now, again, I said, now I understand where y'all coming from. I just broke it down. He don't got many, great fighters, championship fighters. I can only think of 3. Manny Pacquiao, Peter Quillen, and Polymonology, right? I can only think of 3. So it's puzzling to me too as well. But I just wanted to come by this thing and drop that little tad bit. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna hold y'all up too long because I'm about to get, back into my robbing the boogie deal. So I ain't gonna hold y'all up too long. I just wanted to come and drop that info on y'all real quick, man. Devin Haney. He's working with Freddie Roach right now. Not sure if this is going to be a continued relationship, but it looks like that, Ben Davidson is retiring, right? Because he's not working with Josh Taylor anymore, not working with Tyson Fury anymore. And now it looks like he's not working with Devin Haney anymore. You know what I mean? So maybe this is a permanent thing for Devin. Maybe it's not. Maybe just, Devin doing what he always do. Devin's not a stranger, to going around in different gyms, adding pieces to his game. You know what I mean? To soaking up boxing knowledge from all around the boxing game. He's been doing this since he was a kid. You know what I mean? From working with Floyd Senior to Zab Judah's father. You know what I mean? Now, with Freddie Roach. Even to Ben Davidson, the guy from across the pond. You know what I mean? Just getting, the work in wherever he could get it. You know what I mean? But yes, this is a true story. Freddie Roach, Devin Haney. We gonna see what come from it. Freddie Roach put this on his own Instagram. You know what I mean? Mark Messiah was also in the building as well. It's a picture of them, all three of them. All four of them, standing along the line. You know what I mean? So maybe, he's over there with Freddie to add a little something to his game for this Cambosis matchup. You know what I mean? I know people go. I know the family gonna be, real. I know it's gonna be family gonna feel a little, gonna feel a way about this one. Gonna be a little indifferent about this one. And I understand it, especially with Freddie Roach. As of late, not necessarily bringing the bang with his name. You know what I mean? As of late, but it's gonna be interesting to see. I do see scenarios on how Freddie could help Devin. You know what I mean? Offensive minded coach. Again, he's a guy. Most of his fighters, are come forward, fight out the front foot fighters, offensive minded guys. You know what I mean? Traditionally, knockout punchers, not knockout punchers, right? But stoppage fighters, right? Fighters who get stoppages. That is, how Freddie Roach trained. That's what he teaches, right? He teaches stoppages. The problem with that is a lot of Freddie Roach fighters either are going to stop you or you're going to stop them. And that's where the clash will come with Devin Haney, right? But I also think because Devin Haney is, so good defensively already, right? That, him already having that defensive aspect, embedded in him. I think him going over there to Wildcard and Freddie Roach, that could only just add to him and add to the offensive side, the offensive mindset of Devin Haney's game. But I ain't gonna keep y'all here too long. That's all I got. Make sure y'all tune in, a little later or type D. I'm gonna drop another EP for y'all. We gonna rob the bookie. All that good stuff. Appreciate y'all folks starting through this. John Skin Hardaway, Southern T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but just the present. That's how you rocking. And I'm out. Love.